It's October 8th, 2017. Welcome back to WikiLeaks on Weed. We got the train going in the background as per usual. And with us, we have our friend Felonius Thunk. Welcome back, Felonius.
I appreciate you gentlemen asking me back. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. And again, this is French Dog. We got Larry here.
Larry's here. Larry's fired up for a little more Felonius.
Twitter.com/WikiLeaks on Weed. Patreon.com/WikiLeaks on Weed. And let's roll. We've been having a hell of a week with
lots to get to. You know, we've been sitting on Vegas for at least a week now.
Yeah.
We had our meeting with the DSA last week, who were, you know, again, young, upcoming political kids that it's, I guess, fresh to see in my eyes. At least they have an idea. I feel like we've had enough of both sides on the show to try to be with John Medler being that little 23-year-old kid who started the Boston Rally, and now we have the DSA, who is a bunch of 23-year-old kids who have different ideas about it, but I like to see them being active. But now we got Vegas and Felonius. I know that, you know, you're working a lot with healthcare. I know that you work a lot with police reform, and I know that you're ex-military, and it's just, we were thinking, kind of jiving before, you know, about how the comic books are sort of trying to play to the military and trying to work a new recruitment, possibly. Who knows how that all got shut down very quickly. Yeah. But does that tie into Vegas at all with, you know, how much military, how much war we've seen over the last few years? Is that contributing to people wanting to pick up guns and shoot people?
So there's an active movement with former military and peace activists to make sure that we stay out of high schools when we recruit. Because when you think about just the physical development of the brain, you do not create any type of hardcore thinking processes until you're like 20, 25 for men. And so that's what makes high school recruiting the prime crop, I guess, you know, your prime arena for recruiting when you're a military recruiter, because you can get them when they're young, you can make it sound glamorous, you can make the military sound like it's everything you want it to be. Be all you can be, you're an army of one. There's a billboard right outside my house as you walk up to the street that's a Marine executing a salute that says, you know what, you want to be a part of something bigger than yourself. And I use that in my public narrative when I talk about organizing, because I do like being part of something bigger than myself. That's why I spent 10 years in the military. However, yeah, they're tapping into that source. And I remember reading comic books since I was young. I'm going to be 50 in February.
Oh, we all do.
Brother, absolutely. I mean, I had that 4-issue limited series of Wolverine when he went through Japan back in the day. Do you remember that 4-issue limited series?
Yeah,
I loved it.
He stabs that guy in the chin with his middle claw at the end.
Yes, you remember it. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
And so, you know, comic books are that direct mainline into the optimal age of possible recruits.
Well, that in.
Once you start indoctrinating them, at that moment, then yeah, you can skip NFL. You don't have to like have your flyovers. You can let the Negroes have their knee, because now what you've done is you slid over into Marvel. You boosted them with a little bit of money. You are now introducing not only Captain America characters, but you're going mainstream now. You can get into there.
Aren't they starting to introduce a little bit of technology too, and trying to sell to a different medium? You know, with sort of the just the technology that is growing every day within the military.
Well, it's really cool because now, you know, you've got cyber warfare. Yeah, you've got cyber warfare. So you can make geeks feel really good about joining the Army because, oh my God, you're at the cutting edge of stopping the next cyber attack. You are against Russia. You can stop the fake news. You can make sure that Facebook stays honest.
No, that's fascinating, and I think that ties into a almost epidemic of individualism that we're seeing in. It's been going on for decades now, not just in comics, but in movies, where you are the main character of your movie. You're the antagonist, and there's a bad guy.
Or the Dr. Evil.
Or you can be, there's people that empathize with the bad guys, too. And
They see that sometimes.
Marvel's actually surprisingly good at humanizing the bad guys. There's always
They
bad
want
guys
you
with...
to want the bad guy to come back. Like the Joker is, for me, like the greatest bad guy because you wanted the comic with the Joker. The Riddler would come up and you would be like, damn it! I'll read it. But give me the Joker.
My girl wants to go see Thor Ragnarok because Loki is back.
Yeah.
And she has a crush on Loki. So, yeah, you're right.
She's
Make
lying
the bad
to you.
guy
It's all
look
about
sexy.
She's lying to you.
No, she's not a big Helmsworth.
I know, my wife says the
Man.
same thing. I tell you, it's a lie. They all say they don't think Brad Pitt's attractive, too.
Loki's a weird-looking dude. I get creeped out looking at Loki, but it's just that guy.
No, I'm just
He
kidding.
didn't scare me that much either.
My
I'm like,
wife's
this guy doesn't.
my
this
wife's
doesn't-
favorite character is Leatherface, so that's
Okay.
where I'm stuck. So
Yeah, I think in how they got me, I worked for a defense contractor for 2 years, and I showed up, and I'm an engineer, I'm a computer engineer, and they said, all right, so we're going to give you stuff to build, and you use whatever technology you want, however many resources you want, you just get the thing built. Just go. And if you're an engineer, that is a dream job.
Yep.
When somebody's not dictating any part of your design or your architecture, and you get to just run wild with new tech and stuff like that. So there is a real component to that when the comic that we're referencing is this Marvel Avengers and Northrop Grumman crossover. So it's the Avengers crossing over into real life with a real defense contractor, and they have these like kids who are in like these cyber suits using like projection tech and stuff like that. I don't know the details, but I just saw the cover, and like.
well, that's all you can see now, right?
It's not that far from the comic when you look at what they're actually doing in some of these companies.
You would think.
So if you ever followed... No, I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother.
I was just gonna say, I remember seeing like the fact that we had Predator like camouflage that could be active on units, years ago. So I mean, I would hope that stuff's a lot further along than any of us know about. Who knows? Maybe Felonius.
Oh, no, 2 quick points. My girl just threw something at me and said, yeah, Tom Hiddleston is sexy as Loki. And then the other thing is that if you think back to the X-Men, they had an X-Men named Forge.
Yeah.
And he came out. Yeah, do you remember Forge?
I remember Forge. Forge was cool.
Yeah.
You guys.
Forge had a cool ass
he-
ponytail.
Whoa.
And he had the mutant ability to develop weapons out of anything he put his hands on. That was his mutant ability. And what agency did he come out of to develop his mutant ability?
CIA.
Why don't you go DARPA, bro?
NSA. I forget. What was it? The DoD?
No.
DARPA.
Motherfucking DARPA. Yeah, of course.
Jeez.
So early on, it's these indicators that are just put in there, and it's with the Northrop Grumman crossover, it was just so blatant, and that's when everybody kind of revolted. And much like the Juggalos, we have angry Comic-Con nerds to thank for, I guess resisting in a real way.
I had to
sort of
actually
thing.
watch 2 of the Insane Clown Posse being interviewed on Jim Jeffries because of the Juggalos.
Oh yeah, dude, the Juggalos are like the absolute good guys now. They're the moral authority in America right now. So
They're a gang. They cannot be in groups.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, way off topic.
No, you mentioned high school.
It's not way off topic. Hold on. it's not way off topic, because not only have the Juggalos been criminalized, but also black extremist groups.
Oh yeah.
So
Antifa.
yeah.
Right? They got
Antifa
categorized
got
as a
categorized,
terrorist
and
group.
now we have.
Yeah, but you caught the article over the weekend about the black extremist groups being criminalized, so we're not too far off. No, you're fine.
Black identity extremists now, which is basically them saying BLM without saying BLM.
So, okay.
And-
well, we obviously know who we're fighting against there.
Yeah, yeah. That's direct from the mouth of Jeff Sessions, I'm sure.
Wow.
Or somebody.
It's really going to hell in handwagon for them quick. I
Yeah.
did like to hear what the other guy did. He's a fucking moron. That was good.
Yeah.
That was good.
Well, I tweeted that out. I said all the liberals are going to love Rex Tillerson now because he's called Trump a fucking moron.
What do you think about that, Felonius?
Well, I mean, wait, can I use the phrase, well, if you call a spade a spade...
You can, yeah. No,
Oh, okay, thank you very much.
It's odd
But
to
think
hear.
about it. Yeah, he nailed it.
Yeah.
But it's odd.
He
It's
was
odd
right
to
about
hear.
Trump.
It's odd to hear coming from
Well, it came
anyone
from a
within.
bunch of like anonymous White House sources, which I just picture people going home from the White House at like 6 p.m. after a day of work and just like itching to call their contact at Politico and be like, dude, you're not gonna fucking believe what happened today. And and they get all these things, and they came out that Tillerson called him a fucking moron. Then he did this sort of kowtowing, weird, castrated press conference where he was like, no, I mean, I didn't.
Of course, I didn't say that.
Yeah, I really respect the man and blah, blah, blah. So he got chewed out by somebody, and then he had to go on stage and do that crap. But,
Wait, what did you watch? I watched a bunch of shit that said, basically, I support the president without ever admitting to the fact that...
sorry, yeah, I in my...
never came out and said, you know what?
Yeah.
I didn't call him a fucking moron.
Well, you probably did.
Didn't you?
Wasn't there that one time where you called him a fucking moron?
Didn't you?
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So you mentioned high school, and I do remember there being like ROTC people in the cafeteria in high school in central Massachusetts. And I remember just being at high school and being like freaked out and being like, I'm not going to go talk to just totally intimidated and freaked out by those, the older men and the fatigues that were there.
I unfortunately had my message drilled into my head. So
what was your message?
my message was, my grandfather was a colonel in the Marines, so my mother was kind of anti-Marines and stuff like that. So she was very blatant with callers and any of them who called, and made a very strict point with me.
So when did they stop doing high school, I guess is my question, because that was in the 90s when I remember that stuff. Or is the ROTC...
Yeah, there's no stopping. There's still junior ROTC.
Okay, and is that not recruitment? Well, I mean, what is that if not
They get
recruitment?
millions of dollars poured into school systems for recruitment at the high school level, and then even more millions of dollars when you actually graduate high school and move into the
senior ROTC. But you mentioned that they're not doing...
I see that as something good, though.
So what is the movement of not recruiting high school kids? When does that come into play? Let me ask
you this question. So here's the deal. There are military recruiters in high school, and there are not recruiters for the State Department in high school. Why is that?
Because it's easier to get high school kids violent and riled up, and high school kids are dumber.
I think they cherry pick where they go, because I went on a close-up program where I was taken to Washington and whatnot. So I don't know. I think they do that, but they don't do it as much as they should, in my opinion.
And I agree with you. I think it goes back to the argument that I posed in our first conversation. I don't walk over to my next door neighbor who's playing music too loud and just punching, which is what the military does. I walk over to my next door neighbor who's playing his music too loud, and I ask, "Hey, what can we do to have your music turned the fuck down?"
Yeah, which seems to be pretty simple, and you're taking out the middleman who doesn't need to be involved.
But I think the recruiting for the State Department et al. Is called Yale and Harvard and the fraternities and things like that, and sort of getting propped up into power rather than
you're not finding the right.
The
that's where I get right. I want to find the right people. The right person might come from a very dangerous neighborhood who's had to learn serious lessons at a young age and is older than he is of age.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that person who's dealt with stress from a younger person's perspective will have a better idea of how to deal with stressful situations instead of some dipshit from Yale who's had it spoon-fed to him for his whole life. I feel like those people are more useless than anything else.
I absolutely love that perspective. I go to Yale, Harvard, Princeton when I'm CIA, and I want to convert some graduates into what I want them to do. I go to Howard, Grambling, Spelman when I want to talk to people about, hey, you spent your whole life negotiating with people who don't like you. You had to adopt these types of speech patterns and processes that get you to where you want to be without ruffling feathers, without invoking the traditional power structures. So how can I make you a diplomat?
Seriously. I mean, yes, that is what a diplomat needs to be able to do is to grease palms with a smile instead of actually just trying to do business by paying people.
And they also need to know how to drink. Because diplomats drink a lot.
A lot of shit, right? Yeah, no, I want my diplomats to be just as dirty as a regular average everyday person. Who, you have to take from everybody, and what would that average person actually be? That would me to be pretty fun to find out. You take from every single ethnicity that we have, and you make a person. That would be pretty fun.
You make one single person?
Maybe two. Maybe a man and a woman. See what the fuck happens.
And that's something that is representative of America, and I think that's what's being lost in this current administration. And
a lot of people are afraid of.
There's no. It's not an understatement to call it race war, which is happening.
Well,
right
it's
now.
evolution. It's just a really long way to look at it.
So, and I think more, if I dare say, intersectional approach to how we staff and how we recruit would be fantastic. And I think that likewise, some spoon-fed kid from Yale might have something to offer as a private in the military.
To me, he would have something more to offer to that person who's ready to do the job, because he's learned things.
Yeah.
I definitely want everyone who makes decisions for the rest of us to have done a lot of things instead of learned a lot of things.
So what does recruitment look like for you then?
Wait a minute, hold on. That was poorly said. Done a lot of things and learned instead of just learned about a lot of things and never have done them.
Yeah. So, to cook up a dream recruitment scenario for you as an ex-member of the military and as somebody who does community organizing now, what would an ethical military recruitment look like as opposed to what we're seeing now?
That's a great question, because I had recruiters who looked at my ASVAB score, and the ASVAB is, of course, the test that you take before you get into the military, and I had scored so high, I actually still have a placard in the Charlottesville recruiting station, because I had scored so high at that point.
Very nice.
And everybody was asking me to go military intelligence. They're like, how could you not turn this down? What they failed to understand was why I wanted to get out of my hometown and get into the military and go far, far away. I just wanted to get out.
Okay.
I took infantry.
How many more were there like you that it was an escape? Because that's why I like the ROTC program and stuff like that.
Exactly. It's that romanticized, oh my God, I get to travel the world, see great places, and maybe shoot some people.
Do you think you also want?
I'm waiting for the laughter. I'm waiting for the laughter.
There's no laughter because I know that there's a lot of discipline involved in that too.
Exactly.
So I mean, it's not funny.
No,
but I appreciate. Well, remember that's much easier for you to be funny about than it is for us because for us that hits a different level.
I understand. So here's what I think needs to happen.
Yeah.
Well, here's a funny thing. Here's a funny thought. Are people also, to tie comic books back in, looking for an origin story? Like looking for the 4 pages in their own comic book that shows them in Afghanistan in that one crucial story, and then leads into them as the superhero of their own life. Just humor me for a second.
I hear you.
I mean, there is
Do you
a
understand why Chris Evans is so effective as Captain America? Because he is humble, he is pure, he is every single kid from Brooklyn, from Charlottesville, from whatever podunk town who just wants to do right for his country. Chris Evans and Marvel Universe has created like the absolute perfect Captain America. I mean, above and beyond what even Marvel thought they could do with Captain America.
I have to give you that. He is one of the good guys that, you know, as much as he's not my favorite, but he is, that steady.
Yeah.
And he's such a funny actor that it's funny how he does play that off to be so steady when he's got that eyebrow up, and it's, he is a great character.
Have you guys seen Snow?
And juxtapose him against Iron Man, who has all the power, who has all the brains, who has all the money, and is still a sleazy character that just kind of makes you feel uncomfortable in your gut. Right?
Yeah, he's an alcoholic, a womanizer, the dark. But yeah, he's the asshole hero. Everybody loves him.
But you're pulling for him in the end.
Yeah, because he finally makes the right decision.
No, because he's made the right friends.
Yeah,
and in
exactly.
the end, they save his ass.
Yeah.
Which is hopefully what we all have in our lives.
Right. Well, that's also Jack Bauer. Another classic anti-hero.
I never got that
type.
deep into 24, I gotta be honest.
Oh, I watched the whole thing. Have you seen a lot of 24?
Wait, which one?
24?
Kiefer Sutherland, where it was based on one.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah, me neither.
No.
I mean, that was nothing but pro-torture propaganda, post 9/11 pro-torture propaganda.
I guess I saw through that enough to be like, ugh.
Yeah. But
I hate to say it, but yeah, I fell for the reviews that were saying that more conservatives watched 24 and loved Kiefer Sutherland than any other show that was going on because it just tapped into their zeitgeist.
yeah, which is if they have information, fucking waterboard them. Whatever. Do what you do. What you need to do.
It was ensnaring. I would imagine if I had watched a couple episodes, I would have.
Right.
But I'm much more of a Walking Dead guy. I need people having sex and dying and
Zombies
and random magical shit. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that's fair. Now, and my dad summed up 24. He said, aren't you glad that there's somebody like Jack Bauer out there doing that so that you don't have to? And that's to my dad's credit, that's an insanely deep philosophical question.
I like Jason Bourne in that position, though. Give me Jason Bourne.
Yeah.
Fuck Kiefer Sutherland. I was just kidding.
That's a great juxtaposition. I love that. Yes. Jason Bourne versus Jack Bauer. I like that juxtaposition, and I'm going Jason Bourne every time because he's a good guy in a bad situation who makes the best of it versus Jack Bauer, who is on this evangelical crusade to do the right thing.
No matter what.
Yeah.
You can take my daughter, you can take my wife, I am holding my line.
Yeah.
That's just bullshit.
Liam Neeson needs to put a round in his head.
Oh, that's true. I love that guy. That guy's great.
Well, Jason, let's stick
He
on the
was
Jason.
old,
Hold
but
on.
he was old and still played. Liam Neeson in that character, where am I? Taken? That's right, Taken.
Taken.
I mean, he was old and you knew that he was old, but he was still just like, yeah, but it still doesn't matter, guys. I'm still going to kill you all. It's great. He's just so calm.
Hold on, let's riff on the Jason Bourne v. Jack Bauer thing because that's perfect.
Not a contest.
Well, yeah, but if Bourne happened, if he did rebel in the way that Bourne rebelled because he realized
If
he
Bauer
woke up-
did?
No, if Bourne did. which
Bourne
he
did rebel.
I know.
Oh, all right.
But in that universe, they would send Jack Bauer after him.
Yes, it would have been Jack Bauer versus. Oh, that's true. And where do
They
you go?
should absolutely
In
make
a
that
heartbeat.
movie.
In
We
a
should let
heartbeat.
the three of us write that movie.
Jack Bauer would like put his daughter in a capture scenario for Jason Bourne, like a meet, and then Jason Bourne would call him on his phone, and then he would answer on his phone, and he would be like, "I can't believe you actually answered your phone," and then he would shoot him in the back of his head and go walk out to his daughter and be like, "I'm sorry, I just saw your dad, but literally he needed to be shot. Just go on with your life. We're gonna walk away like none of this ever happened," and that would be the end of the movie. And then
You understand that Jason Bourne would be backed by the Liam Neeson character
Yeah, he could have a cameo.
against Jack Bauer. Yeah, I'm thinking this would be like
oh, that's true. Like,
the
oh no,
movie.
yeah, that's true. Sorry, go ahead.
What's the movie where Shia LaBeouf and Morgan Freeman?
Oh shit.
The one where you could spin bullets around the corner.
Oh, fuck.
Was it Shia LaBeouf?
No, it was the kid from Last King of Scotland.
Yeah, no, it wasn't Shia LaBeouf, but I know exactly what. Yeah.
Yeah, where they spun the bullets in the circle.
Who was
at the end.
my favorite? One of my favorite ladies was in that. What's her
Lara
name?
Croft.
Yes. What's
Yeah, Laura Croft.
Yes.
Yeah.
Angelina Jolie.
Angelina Jolie. Thank you. What's the movie? Because I'm thinking
Oh my God.
it would be like the secret society, and Liam Neeson would step into this and actually execute Jack Bauer with a bullet that was spun around a corner because, hey,
No.
you're just not America, bro.
Yeah, if you can't spin bullets.
Jason Bourne is America.
Oh my God! With the butcher, there's another one. They
Yeah.
just came out with it.
It's Secret Service, Secret
No.
Huntsman.
No, it's not Huntsman.
No.
Oh my God.
Well, whatever. The point is that we're writing a really amazing movie right now, and we can't get bogged down with details.
That's true. But now I'm going through the whole movie. I
It's
can't
the,
remember. They
it's-
stand on top of a train, and he has to his first thing is he has to shoot some guy while standing on a train with a curved bullet through a window,
Let it go,
and then
let it
he
go.
doesn't do it, and
And
she
he
gets all
kills his
mad at
dad.
him.
He kills his dad at the end.
Yes, kills dad.
Yeah, I remember that whole fucking thing. This could be like the Expendables, but
His
with
dad
all
was
these
like Liam Neeson's second guy, dude. He looks just like him too.
So okay, so this ties to Vegas though, because this is like the lone
Let's
gunman.
get
This
into
is all the
Vegas.
fucking. I mean, okay, John Wick.
Felonius.
Hold on, let me center us on John Wick for a second. You've seen John Wick?
okay.
Fuck yes, I have.
Okay,
Both
that-
movies.
Could John Wick have done that shit?
Yeah, well, the John Wick did do that shit because somebody killed his dog.
500.
You know, okay, I think he probably killed about maybe 200 people in John Wick 1.
No,
Just by
he
himself.
never got to 100.
No, dude.
Watch the movie. No, count.
All right.
We'll have to Google this. If we had any
many people
power,
did John
you know
Wick
what?
kill?
I can.
But
Hold on.
I mean, so this is to get serious for a second. I mean, this is just
Yeah, you know what? That's true.
a
We're
white
talking-
guy going ballistic and killing hundreds of people, and this
Yeah,
is
but
just
why? But why?
because somebody slighted him. Because in John Wick, they killed his dog, and his dog was a symbol of his wife and
Country
everything.
music did something to him? I don't know. Good
Well,
Felonius. Hit
Living
me,
as
hit
a
me-
fucking
hit me
soulless
with your
investor.
take on
Yeah.
Vegas.
Yeah, please interrupt this stoned idiocy.
Yeah, please. Because I'm baffled. I don't know what to say about Vegas. It's just like Vegas is a very weird phenomenon to me. How he just transported all these guns into a room, knocked out a window, and then
Two.
and then shot 600 people. How does this happen? Did he have a 50? It sounded like a fucking 50. What did he have? Do you think?
He didn't have a 50. He had a goddamn AR-15 with a bump stock. That's all you need.
That's all he had. And he had just removed the pin and gone fully.
He had the bump stop.
Wait, yeah, he had a bump stock. You didn't have to remove a pin or anything. You upgrade your ammo and you upgrade the rate of fire, and there you go. Boom. Happy hunting.
But he didn't just have
He had multiple
20
of those things.
AR. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you just had the same gun over and over again? The one that I saw, like the one you see on the tripod in that one shot or whatever?
Sure, yes, sir.
Okay.
All right. So, I mean, I think there is. I'm trying to make a really distant connection here between the media and the movies and the sort of lone gunman flicks that we all
Yeah,
love.
we're all kind of trying to draw that together. What makes... Is the availability of guns what makes people think that they can go and do that? Or is it just what goes on in this society that makes people think that they can go and do that?
That's a great question. And what I honestly feel deep inside is that it is how we've structured society, how we've structured the punishment system. Think about it. We want to have the death penalty to stop murder, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So, how many times has the death penalty stopped murder? We should, because we have the death penalty, we should have fewer and fewer murders in the United States.
Right.
Do we?
Well, the more that you hear about each individual states and how they, there's people that are going to death row for bite mark analyzation, which is now being, I just saw this thing recently, I guess, on HBO about how, now they've defunct it, where it's like, yeah, these people that are talking about how they linked bite marks to crime scenes, it's all bullshit.
Yeah.
And they had to let, a lot of people go, and like 9 of them had already been fucking executed. So it's like, well, maybe we shouldn't have the death penalty until we figure out when we should use it, when the evidence is weighing enough for us to be with 100% assurity know that this person was a psychopath and killed 3 people. We have to put him down like a dog. Like, I am part of that, but I don't want to kill people that didn't fucking do it. I want to know that our justice system can work in a way that makes sense, because it doesn't right now. It's just archaic.
Which is, thank God for the Innocence Project, because now we have to have a third party to step into our justice system and say, hey, wait, let's take a moment to figure out, through scientific evidence, did somebody kill somebody? Oh, no? However, they're sitting on death row?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know someone
Let's
who's
revisit this.
involved in that project. We're going to have him on the podcast as soon as we can get him free. He helped as much as he could.
So that's interesting about better evidence. Better evidence to me leads to less wrongful incarcerations. Better evidence leads to fewer, death penalty situations. I don't know that it stops in murders. If we're going back to the original question,
it's just different now.
Yeah,
and it's different in a lot of different ways. That like what we've been considering to be forensic evidence is not. And now we actually have an understanding of what it really is.
Yeah.
And we need to change all of that. I
think we should have the best evidence possible using the most up-to-date scientific methods possible. But
right
it
now
seems
it's
like
not standardized.
It seems like it's treating a symptom of a sickness of our society.
What's the beginning? It's the beginning of how to treat it is you have to figure out how to treat the lowliest of you. And then once you figure out what to do with them, then you can start working on everybody else. But if you...
I don't understand why you mentioned science. We don't believe in science. We believe in God. We believe in magic. We believe in, the fucking Hogwarts instructors would have more pull than scientists in this country because we don't believe in science.
Yeah,
we have to. It's so funny how, for me, that's a huge dichotomy where technology and information has driven us to a certain point, yet the power that we have right now within our country doesn't want to believe in evolution. So it's like, what the fuck is the problem here? Wait a minute, but you guys love the internet and all the information that we have. You guys just don't want to accept some of it? And why are the people that don't want to accept facts in power in my country? It's fucking stupid.
I think. You want to take a stab at that, Thunk? Because I'm
sorry. I
that.
just kind of that's.
Oh no, I don't want to touch it. Considering how Hurricane Nate just made landfall and how there's only 9% of power to Puerto Rico, but I'm going to tweet a video of helicopters flying all over the goddamn place. Makes me the president that has done the most for Puerto Rico. I'm not gonna. I don't have anything to say about science. All I know is science rules because Tony Stark uses science, doesn't he?
Wait. So where do you stand on science? Now I'm confused.
I think you're being sarcastic, Thunk. I think you're pro-science. I think we all are.
But you just confused Larry. It's only Larry that's confused right now, I'm pretty sure. I just didn't know if you agreed with me or not with what I just said. Oh no. I'm hitting the bowl.
Did you see the thing where Trump was giving that speech and he kept saying Puerto Rico with a funny accent?
He said so many things.
Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that.
Puerto Rico.
Yeah, I've never...
Really? Can you say Rico Suave and just like sing the rest of the goddamn song?
Yeah, that was so fucking crazy. I mean, we all know that this guy is just a fucking insanely, like, ethnic cleansing megalomaniac freak, but I've never seen it just blatantly rubbed in somebody's face, because he would just pause before it. He'd go like, yeah, we're doing everything we can for Puerto Rico.
Yeah,
it was just like...
It's physically painful to hear him say it every time.
And you're juxtaposing that with the helicopters flying, and it is just sort of this like, look, we're just gonna put this image out there to anybody who will believe it that, you know, our military is just balls deep in all of this stuff, and that's all you need to worry about. Don't worry about anything else. Just look at the helicopters, and just rest assured that like any other decade, you get to sleep well at night because our military is just out there in the world protecting you. And
well, I'm used to watching 45 like make every scenario be a win for him. I just didn't really expect to see him like try to do it like you're saying, like this blatantly almost sarcastic, like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like, how can you be saying this right now?
Right.
Or tweeting.
You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
Oh yeah, and ground broke on the wall too. That was the other thing. I saw the first pictures of them putting up like giant cement planks or something like that.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah. So, what was your personal experience like being recruited? I mean, you said you wanted to get away, but like, who did you talk to? What building did you go to? Like, what did that all look like?
I was in Charlottesville, and after my grandfather passed away, I had given up a full-ride scholarship to go to a college, and so I wanted to get the college money from the Army. And so I went down to the recruitment office and had an amazing meal at a restaurant in my town at that time, and he was talking to me about all kinds of crazy jobs I could have in the military. I was like, okay, this is cool, but can I go to college? And he's like, yeah, of course. So I took the ASVAB, scored what I scored on the ASVAB, and we wrote out the contract so that I could get the maximum amount of money for college. 2 years. I only needed to be in the Army for 2 years, and I was very happy. Bro, my first duty station at 19 years of age was Germany.
Oh, so...
Now we're chuckling because we know what Germany's like in the military.
I have heard too many Army tell me stories about Germany and the wonderful houses that they had.
black man to the land of blonde, beer, and pretty much not much else
Sausage.
for 2 years.
Sausage.
I actually, right, blonde, beer, and bratwurst. I re-enlisted while I was in Germany because I thought this was what the Army was.
Holy fuck.
And, and then...
It's called the GI Bill. You didn't know?
Uh-huh.
Bro, it was crazy because then I was sent to Fort Campbell and was asked to go overseas to do this thing after Saddam Hussein had crossed the border into Kuwait. And then I realized, oh, this is what the Army's all about.
Wow. So the Germany thing was to get you to re-enlist.
The Germany thing was perfect. It got me to re-enlist. Hell yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
So that was a recruitment tool too.
So after
probably a well-known recruitment tool because I've heard that from guys that are 20 years older than you, Felonius.
We're gonna send Thunk to clean up in Germany, and then once he's done there, we'll get him over to the storm in the Middle East.
Oh God.
Exactly.
Yeah. So then you spent was that the next 6 years?
Exactly. So 90, 91 in the Arabian Peninsula, and then 93 in Somalia. I got out after I came back from Somalia, tried to do a corporate thing in the civilian world and hated it, got back in 96, and then spent the next 6 years. So was able to hit every single deployment from 9/11 on until 2003 when I got out and was like, okay, we need to do something different about our military because there's not enough people in public office who have served in the military who understand that you just can't send us everywhere that you're pissed off about.
Right. Intel is very important. Good, credible intel.
And good, credible judgment on the part of the lawmakers and the people who are voting on these wars.
Do you think the intel drives it, or do you think it's the people that are in power?
I think it's really disgusting to think that the first thing you do when you have a dispute is to throw that punch. You need to understand that if you have served in the military, if you've served on a deployment, we're the last thing that you want to do. We're absolutely the last thing because we're really good at what we do. We kill people. We're really good at it.
Yes.
Yeah.
The United States spends millions, if not billions of dollars teaching us how to kill people. So before you deploy us, you might want to have a conversation with that country, with whatever entity it is, before you send us. Because we're not going to bullshit. We're not going to fuck around. We're not going to placate. We are the military. We're going to kill people.
Right, you're expecting that everyone's job has been done before you did what you had to do.
Exactly.
And your feeling at the end of the day was that job was not being done.
So yeah, was that the feeling there where you being the military writ large, or the people that were deployed thinking something like, you mean all these jobs haven't been done yet? You mean we're the first people that you sent?
Yeah, it was unusual and it was weird and it caused consternation within the ranks while we're deployed, which distracts us from our mission.
Yeah. Have you read the book On Killing? You heard of this book?
What do you think about it?
I read half that book. I read the first half.
I gotta put that on my list then.
Yeah. Do you want me to explain to Larry what this is, or do you want to explain?
No, you go ahead because I'm interested in why you couldn't finish it.
I was like 20, and I was also like drinking and sausaging.
He has ADD. It's not his fault.
No, but
Felonius, just give us a brief recap.
Well, all right, yeah.
Or I'm sorry, Crunch. Take it.
All right. It's a book by a West Point professor about how they took the military from World War I, where like 90% of the bullets were shot over the opponent's heads because they didn't want to shoot the people. Because it turns out pointing a gun and pulling the trigger tends to be really hard when you know that you're going to take a life. And how they got that number, Thunk, to around 90%, 99%, 95% by Vietnam era. And then goes from there into just the techniques that they use. And much like the stages of grief in death, you also follow like a similar pattern after you kill somebody.
Okay.
Where it goes through like an exhilaration period, then it falls into depression, and you can get stuck at those phases, which is like kind of like what PTSD is.
Try to teach you how to find equilibrium.
Yeah, and that's about where I left off in the book. So if you want to pick up from there, Thunk, that would be cool.
There's nothing more I need to go because you explained it perfectly. There are stages when you kill a person, and PTSD will either conveniently leave you at a stage, or it will free you from a stage. And when you think about Chris Kyle coming back and doing what he did to work with veterans with PTSD, you understand how impactful it is to take a life.
Hey everybody, we're going to cut off this fascinating conversation right there, and we'll see you over at patreon.com/WikiLeaks on Weed for the rest. Catch you over there.